Hello, welcome to the Daily Mill, Friday, 21st of January 2022. Massive news for Millwall today. If you don't know, where have you been? We have signed an attacking player. Not only that, but attacking player with seemingly decent pedigree. So let's have a look at what happened today in Millwall news. Millwall announced Oliver Burke loan signing. Attacker joins until the end of the season, and doesn't he look so happy there? Looks a bit like Scott Malone, doesn't he there? There you go. I don't know if I would go for that haircut myself if I had ears like that, but there you go. Millwall Football Club is delighted to announce the signing of Oliver Burke on loan from Sheffield United to the end of the 21-22 season. The 24-year-old becomes Gary Rowett's first signing in the January transfer window and will form a part of the line's front line between now and May. Burke, born in Kirkcaldy, Scotland, began his professional career at Nottingham Forest before he moved to Germany. RP Leipzig, Sandwich, a loan spell at Bradford City. A £15 million move back to the UK and West Bromwich Albion followed, with Burke's career then taking him to Celtic and Alaves on loan before Bramall Lane came calling. The forward will wear number 10 for the Lions and will be available for selection for the Sky Bet Championship fixture at Blackpool tomorrow. So there you go, they got a deal done. Maybe they knew this was in the offings. Let's have a little bit more. This is from londonnewsonline.co.uk. There you can see him there getting stuck in. If he does that at a den, he will be well appreciated. So Mill have signed Sheffield United attacker Oliver Burke on loan until the end of the season. The 24-year-old Scot had previously been a transfer target for Lions manager Gary Rowett. The South Londoners have moved to bolster their defensive options after offloading Matt Smith and John Daddy Bodvarsson to Salford City and Bolton Wanderers, along with injuries to Tom Bradshaw and Shay Ojo. Burke had a medical at Millwall's Calmont Road training ground this morning and the paperwork was completed in time for him to be involved tomorrow at Blackpool. The Lions were keen on Burke when he was at West Brom's books, but the Scotland international ended up joining the Blades in September 2020, with Callum Robinson heading the other way. Burke has played just 171 minutes of Championship football this season. He has scored twice in 36 appearances for Sheffield United. Burke became the most expensive Scottish player when he moved from Nottingham Forest to German club RB Leipzig for 13 million in August 2016. So the most expensive Scottish player. Now, what does that mean? What does it mean? So let's have a little background here. Now, he hasn't been playing for Sheffield United, but if you go and see what Sheffield United fans are saying, what do you think they would be saying? Now you would imagine that they probably won't give a toss because he hasn't been playing for them. And there's probably a reason for that. So we're going to have a look at what Sheffield United fans are saying. But there are players at every club who the fans seem to not like too much. They can't seem to get behind them. So bear that in mind. Now, you're a Millwall fan, you know that. You're probably a Millwall fan if you're watching this, maybe not. But you probably know that we have an element of that ourselves. So let's have a look at what Sheffield United fan has penned. Now this is from Lee Connor, Sheffield United News, SheffieldUnited.news. I think it's a fan site. This is pretty. It's an opinion piece, and it's pretty comprehensive and. There's a lot of opinion here, so let's get into it. Oliver Burke leaves Sheffield United, and there'll be no tears shed at Bramall Lane. Like a speedboat without a driver. That's how one Nottingham Forest fan described Oliver Burke to us when Sheffield United landed the former RB Leipzig man in a deal involving Callum Robinson in 2020. Sadly, just 18 months on, and it seems even the speedboat bit was a tad generous when it came to Burke. Chris Wilder hopped to cash in on Robinson when West Brom put up a nice chunk of change and threw in Burke as a make-weight in the deal. At the time, Wilder was happy he added much needed raw pace to the squad, while he'd also take a punt on a player who hadn't reached his potential yet. Burke had moved to Germany from Forest for around 13 million, but he never kicked on, and spells with Celtic, Alaves and Albion failed to get the best from him either. As Wilder had done with the likes of Ravel Morrison, there was a risk worth taking for the then Blades boss. However, over the period of time Sheffield United used Oliver Burke, the writing was always on the wall. Positional problems. One of the biggest issues Oliver Burke has at the moment is nobody can really see where he plays. Wilder tried to use him as a striker. At times, his pace running into the corners causes the teams an issue. And let's give him credit here. Burke is blisteringly quick, but with that speed, there is little to no control. At Alaves, Burke was used as a wing-back, but most Sheffield United fans simply cannot see how that would even be considered in England. Quick as Burke is, he doesn't beat men with ease. He's not defensive-minded and seemed to, at times anyway, lack the required work rate for such a position. Wilder was probably right to put Burke up top, but against Premier League opposition, it was simply too good. And now, against steep-sitting Championship defences, the former Nottingham Forest man was of little use. Lows outweigh the highs. For Oliver Burke himself, he'll always have a winning goal at Old Trafford to his name, and fair play to him, he scored and will be etched in history on a famous night for Sheffield United Football Club. But really, that's where the eyes end for Burke and United. The stats sheet reads 36 games, 2 goals and 1 assist in red and white. Put simply, that is not going to cut it for most Championship teams, never mind United. Often ridiculed by fans on social media for certain fashion choices. Not that we think it matters what Burke does in his personal life or online, but it's safe to say the forward won't be Mr. Bramall Lane. In pure footballing terms, we were overstocked anyway in attack, and in fan opinion terms, it's likely to be seen as a big wage off the books with minimal impact on the squad. All in all, it's a win-win for the Blades. Of course, Burke might find his feet in Millwall and do well. After all, he's just 24 and has time to finally get cracking, but if he does that, then United either get back a player in form or a saleable asset. But for the here and now, Oliver Burke is one Sheffield United player who won't be yearned for by many at S2. I assume that's the postcode there. In a few months' time, it would not surprise to see Millwall fans wondering why their club bothered either. There you go. I thought that's pretty well. There's the geezer there who wrote it. That seems to be when I'm looking at his stats and stuff. That seems to be the situation. He had potential. There have been a number of clubs who have took a gamble on him to capitalise on that potential, and it hasn't worked out. And now he's 24. He's going to be 25 this year. He's got the next 2 seasons to sort himself out, and then he's going to be at his peak physically, and it's going to be downhill from there. So we will see. It doesn't look good, and let's have a look at his stats. This is Wikipedia, wikipedia.org, Oliver Burke. So a few things to note. I'm not going to read all this. He helped Leipzig to runners-up position in the league. He went to West Brom for a fee of 15 million. So you can see here. So he went to Leipzig for 30 million, which we saw before made him the most expensive Scottish player ever. He then went to West Brom for 15 million, and he beat his own record. So this geezer here is the most expensive Scottish player ever. And he is a player who's literally done nothing in football. He's done nothing. Not a thing. Now that might be a bit harsh. So again, so let's have a look. So he was born in Kirkcaldy, but he grew up in Melton Mulberry, Lincolnshire, Leicestershire. So he is another player from the Midlands area. He grew up in Leicestershire. Yet another player signed by Gary Rowett from that Midlands area. That seems to be his strategy. Who do I know who's from the Midlands? Let's sign them. Mason Bennett, George Evans, Scott Malone. Let's sign. If they're from the Midlands, let's sign them. He started out in Nottingham Forest. He had 2 seasons for them. During that time, he had a loan he went on loan to Bradford City. Now, for some reason, RB Leipzig came in with a massive deal for him, which probably because he was just young. So he's playing half decently when he was really young, because he's still only 24. And the move to Leipzig was 6 years ago. So what that when he was 18. So RB Leipzig bought him when he was 18. So that's why that he cost that much money. That was a 5-year contract. So they signed him on a 5-year contract, and he goes back to England the following year. So he obviously didn't like it out there. So here, you see here, despite this early impact, Burke was regularly used as a substitute by Leipzig. Their coaching staff praised his physical attributes, but questioned his tactical awareness. So he returns to West Brom for a 15 million fee, which he probably wanted to get back to the country, and Leipzig made a £2 million profit on a player that they only had for 1 season on a 5-year deal. So there you go. He broken his own record as the most expensive Scottish footballer. There you go. And he signed a 5-year contract at West Bromwich Albion. So he moves on loan to Celtic for half a season, like what he's doing with us. And I think he helped them win the title up there. Then the season after that, he goes on a season-long loan to Alaves in the La Liga. So, and then after that, after being on loan to Alaves, he comes back to Sheffield United, who I think were in the Premier League. So they're thinking, well, this geezer's got pedigree. He's been around. He's half decent. Let's bring him in. So you can see here, not a lot of games. To be honest, yeah. For a player who's how many seasons is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So 11 seasons, and he's played 145. Or he's had 145 appearances, or 172 with cup competitions and whatnot over 11 seasons. That's not very good. He's got 13 caps for Scotland, despite being their most expensive player. That's the world we live in, isn't it? Because back in the day when Scotland were good, their players, that's when there was no money in football. Kenny Dalglish, Graham Souness, players like that. And he has won the Scottish Premiership with Celtic when he was on loan there. And that's about all she wrote for him. So let's have a little look. Let's have a little further dive in. This is his games this season. First 2 games at the bottom, Football League Cup games. 2-1 win at Derby, 2-2 draw with Southampton. Southampton go through penalties. And his ratings, so he hasn't even played full games for them. So it seems to be this is another Mason Bennett. Someone who's quick, doesn't play the full game, probably can't. Does he have the engine to do it? Does he have the gas to do it? He's probably not match fit. So if he plays game after game, week after week for us, he's probably going to get injured. His body's probably going to break down. Yeah, because when's the last time he played a full 90 minutes? Probably over a year. So you can see their ratings not too good. And here you go. This is his ratings over all the years, over all the seasons. So this site gives it as 135 games, 135 appearances, 5,386 minutes, and in that amount, 9 goals, 8 assists, and only 7 yellow cards. He's literally a player who does nothing. He's a striker who doesn't score, doesn't assist, can't even get booked, so he doesn't tackle. What does he do? What does he do? If you're a footballer and you don't score, you don't set up goals, you don't tackle and get booked for it, what do? You can see here his ratings. So that last season at Nottingham Forest, you can see he had a 7.72. So that was his best season ever. That was 2016-17. That's 6 years ago. 6 years ago. When he was 18 years old. And since then, since he's got the bag, got the money, nothing. Literally, now he's stepped up a level. He was in the Premier League for West Brom. 2 starts, 30 sub appearances. 358 minutes, 2 assists, 6.25 rating in the Premier League. So you could say, well, that's not dog shit. It's not the best thing. But if he's, and you can see here again in the Premier League, played a few more times for Sheffield United last season. 14 starts, 11 sub appearances, 1 goal, 1 assist. Again, 6.25 rating. So a player who's capable of being a squad player in the Premier League, getting a 6.25 rating, you'd imagine that when he comes down to the Championship, he should be alright. But he hasn't played. So from West Brom, did he get a strop on? Does he want to play in the Premier League? And when he's in Championship, he's thinking, fuck this, I want to be in the Premier League. I want to be in the greatest show on earth. The Premier League, I don't want to play in the fucking Championship. Because you see here, when he gets dropped down to the Championship with West Brom, he doesn't play. And he's rating his shit. So you'd think, hang on, mate, if you're average in the Premier League, you should be decent in the Championship. But he isn't playing. He got loaned out because he wasn't playing. And again, last season for Sheffield United, 6.25 rating in the Premier League. Comes down to the Championship. 2 games started so far. 1 off the sub. 171 minutes. Done absolutely fuck all. Got 6.07. Slightly better rating. These 2 things at the top are both in the same season this season. They just split the competitions. Football League, Championship and League Cup. So seems to have problems that does he want to play in the Premier League and he doesn't want to play in the Championship? Well, we're in the Championship, we're not in the Premier League. So how's that going to be? Not only that, if you look at here, there's a pattern here. So he's local lad, Melton Mowbray, born and bred. He had 2 choices of local teams. I don't know if you know Melton Mowbray. It's in Leicestershire, but it's between Nottingham and Leicester. So he signed for Nottingham Forest. He then goes off to Leipzig just for 1 season. Now he's on a 5-year deal. Comes back to the Midlands, West Brom, Premier League, big money, most expensive Scottish player ever. Plays a season there. Season after, gets loaned out to Celtic. Plays a little bit for West Brom in the Championship. Doesn't really play at all. Off the bench. The next season after that, gets loaned out to Olaofe. Then comes back to the Midlands, sort of. Sheffield isn't that far from Nottingham, so it seems he has this pattern of wanting to be close to home, and then thinking, "Fuck this, I want to get out of here," and then coming back, I'm back home, and then, "Oh, fuck this, I want to get out of here." This pattern, this happened 4 times now. It's not. It seems to be a pattern, and all of the clubs that he's played for in England are in the Midlands, roughly close to each other. Nottingham, West Brom, Sheffield United. So, are we part of the pattern where he's fuck this, I want to get out of here? So he's come down south to Millwall, and then he'll next season he's gonna go back to the Midlands. Stoke City, Coventry, he's going to sign for one of them. Who knows? Seems to be part of the pattern. So he's here just for the rest of this season. So we're hopeful that he will actually perform for us, because he wants to get a decent move back to the Midlands. Maybe Sheffield Wednesday if they get promoted, I don't know. But that's what we're hoping for. That he has self-interest to actually perform for us, because otherwise his career might be actually fucked if he doesn't. Because he's 24, he's 25 this year, 25 in April, and that potential that he had, that clubs were buying him for, making him the most expensive Scottish player ever, is dwindling fast and shrinking to the size of an atom. Microscopic potential gone. Speed. He's quick. Well, how long that's gonna last? You get one injury, that'll fuck you up as well. Get an hamstring injury, how fast are you gonna be when you come back from that? Knee injury, how fast are you gonna be when you come from that? And how often can we play him? If we start playing him, he doesn't seem to have played a lot. If we start playing him a lot, he's gonna fucking break down again, and we've wasted our money on a lone player who we can't play because he's injured. This seems to be absolute nightmare signing. I can't see why we've made this signing, especially if we don't have a pre-contract agreement to sign him in the summer. It seems to be a total waste of resources and effort. Not only that, but he seems to be the type of player who needs to be man-managed. And how's Gareth doesn't seem to be the type of manager that does that. He doesn't have looking from the outside in. He seems to be burning bridges with players and putting noses out of joints. He doesn't seem to have the charisma of someone like Terry Venables, Sam Allardyce, Harry Redknapp. Those were man managers that would put a shoulder around the players, get the group dynamic going. Gareth doesn't seem to be doing that. So how's this guy going to perform? So there you go. But we've signed him, so he has pedigree. He's the most expensive Scottish player ever. He has potential that is shrinking by the day. And we signed him on loan to the end of the season. For presumably because Jed Wallace is leaving, you expect. And we have other forwards injured, so that's it. Let's hope this isn't a complete bust. So moving on to this, so why not bring Issac Luly back? Well, we can't. No, we literally can't. It will break the contract. So informed striker not coming back to the Den this month, and Millwall manager explains why. This is from LondonNewsOnline.co.uk. Issac Luly will spend the rest of the season on loan at Sutton after Millwall let their recall option expire. Fantastic management from the club there. Jon Daddy Bodvarsson and Matt Smith both sealed permanent exits from the Lions this week, making free transfer moves to Bolton Wanderers and Salford City. Informed striker Tom Bradshaw has been ruled out for around 12 weeks after sustaining knee ligament damage against Forest. Olaofe, 22, scored twice for Sutton in midweek in their 3-2 home win against Colchester. He has 7 in total for the campaign. He's done really well, but the recall date has passed, said Mill boss Garrett. It's something we thought about, but we don't think he's quite ready to come in and impact us just yet. He's done really well out on loan and scored goals. He's very, very comfortable in the surroundings at Sutton, having been there this season before. We've had a lot of other interest in him from other clubs, but we're committed to leaving him wherever he is to develop. This season is a big season for some players, and next season is a really big season for the likes of Tyler Burry, Hayden Muller, Isaac and Alex Mitchell. They will be coming back to the club. I know there's a fair way to go on the back of mixed loans, some really good ones. The challenge is, can they push into what we're doing? It's easier to do that off the back of a confident season of 40 odd games than it is after playing 16 or 17 games and coming back in halfway through. We have to look at the development of the player as much as helping the team out. I get it's all about the first team, but it's also important those decisions are made for the right reasons and we stick with them. Otherwise we won't get the long-term benefits we've seen with the likes of Danny McNamara. What is he talking about? No idea. Anyway, so we've got a game tomorrow. And here it is. So Blackpool, the history of Blackpool versus Millwall. This is from 11v11.com. And here you can see, we haven't played them that many times. It just goes down to here. 1928 to 2015. Our paths have not crossed that much, but you can see there is a sea of red. In the 1970s, 4 losses in a row, 72, 73, 74, 76, then 3 draws in a row, and then 2 defeats in a row. So that's a total of 9 games in a row without winning, all the way from 72 to, oh no, there's even more if you go back further. So from 1969 to 1998, we didn't win at Blackpool. It's 13 games there. 13 games in a row over a number of years we went to Blackpool and did not win. We had our first win in 1967 when we were pretty good, 1-4-1. And then literally nothing again until we had 3 in a row in 1990s, 1998, 99, and then again a gap because we were in different leagues, 2007. And then remarkably again, so this is when they, presumably when they were decent under Ian Olaofe, 2011 to 2015, 4 games in a row at this level. Was, remember, Blackpool have been in the Premier League, unlike Millwall. So at this level, they beat us 4 games, 4 visits in a row in the 2011. So there you go. And then the last game up there was a draw in 2015. So this will be the first time Rowett led Millwall team will go up to Blackpool. Can he break the curse? Can he break the pattern of not doing very well up there? So yeah, remarkably only 4 wins at Blackpool for Millwall over 20 or something so games. Can it be done, or will it be a draw? Now you're looking at this and you think, well, we'll take a draw here. And imagine Gary Rowett would love a draw. He does love a draw. But we will see. So historically, you can see this is not a good place for Millwall to go. Not at all. So what does that mean for the game tomorrow? Well, these are the last 6 visits for Millwall to Blackpool. The last one, 1-1 draw. We had a player sent off though. That was Carlos Edwards, got sent off. And if you look there, so not a lot of goals there. They've scored 6 over 6 games. We've scored 3 over 6 games. So we can't even score 3 goals in 6 games. That's not very good. Is that something to do with the pitch? I don't know. Maybe because we always go up there when it's cold. And it's on the sea. It's on the sea. You got that cold sea air blowing in. Maybe it is. I don't know. Maybe it must be pretty fucking freezing up there. So let's have a look at the match. What are the match facts here? On the right hand side, Blackpool have seen under 2.5 goals in 5 of the last 6 home matches against Millwall in all competitions. So not a lot of goals. Blackpool are undefeated in their last 5 home matches against Millwall in all competitions. Indeed, last win up there 2007. So 6 games ago. Let's scroll down. So form table. No, this is a table as it stands now. This is actually, well, I would say it's a big game, but to be honest with you, I've given up on our playoff hopes. I think that's done and dusted. We're not good enough. We were barely good enough when we had a full squad. Now we've got injuries. This is, just forget about playoffs. It's not happening. It seriously isn't going to be happening. So, but you can see here they are on the same amount of points as us, 33. They've got the same form as us, basically. The last 6 games we've won 2 and lost the rest. They've won 2 and lost the rest. And you'll see that here. Yep, there you go, same form. They've scored less goals than us and conceded 1 more. So roughly the same. So pretty much 2 teams that are similar in terms of the overall league pattern so far and in terms of results. And in terms of pattern in the last 6 games form wise. Now let's have a look at the last 6 home matches for Blackpool and the last 6 away games for Millwall. Now, if one thing looking at Millwall's side on the right hand side, we haven't failed to score in the last 5 away games. We've scored. We've lost a lot. We won at Coventry. We drew Middlesbrough, but last 5 games, scoring twice and scoring a single goal in the last 4 games before that. But we haven't failed to score away since the Huddersfield game. And looking at Blackpool, although we conceded 3 goals against Bristol City, conceded 2 against Peterborough, conceded 2 against Hull. Again, when we kept a clean sheet at Coventry, we won. So if we can keep a clean sheet against Blackpool, that might mean we can win. If we can't, then we're probably looking at best a 1-1 draw. So let's have a look at Blackpool. How are they doing at home? So they got beat 3-0 against Luton. They lost 2-1 to Middlesbrough. So they've scored in most of the home games here. Scored 3 against Peterborough. Scored 1 against Hull. Kept a clean sheet against Hull last game. Kept a clean sheet against West Brom. So that's not bad. But they failed to score against West Brom. Failed to score against Luton. So which Blackpool will turn up? Hard to tell. Here's the strengths and weaknesses. So you can see here a lot more weaknesses for Blackpool than there are for Millwall. Is that good for us? They play long balls. That might be helpful for us. Although Danny Ballard not in the squad, so header wise that might be a problem. Match forecast. Millwall will control the game in the opposition's half. Well, that would be good, wouldn't it? So that's all the information there in terms of history and current stats. So let's move on to the predictions, shall we? So this is from whoscored.com as well, as was the previous page. In terms of players, you can see both teams have got a lot of players out injured. So what does that mean? What do they say? Well, let's have a look. So they say Blackpool will turn out in the league for the first time in over 3 weeks on Saturday as they look to carry on where they left off, beating Hull City 1-0 at Bloomfield Road. Neil Critchley's side are already far clear of the relegation battle, an impressive feat given the Tangerines' new championship status. Millwall conceded 24 shots at home against Nottingham Forest last time out as they were condemned to a 1-0 defeat. The London club's playoff bid is falling apart following a run of 3 defeats from their last 4 league outings indeed. So our form's hit a bad patch and we've now got injured players. But they say Blackpool won, Millwall won. So they reckon we can get a draw. Which, seeing as the teams are quite similar in terms of where they are in the league, where they are in the form table, probably sounds about right. Not only that, but we're quite similar in terms of the amount of players we have out injured. So a 1-1 draw, probably about right. And moving on to this one, David Pratton. What does he predict? So let's see where we are. We're probably all the way down the bottom. Oh, it's the Forest Derby this week. Let's scroll down to the Mill game. Where the hell are we? All the way down the bottom. Here you go. Blackpool versus Millwall, a 1-1. So he's saying 1-1 as well. Which, as you've seen when we look at the history of the fixture, is a good result for Millwall to get a 1-1 draw. And I've got to agree there, to be honest with you. I've got to agree. Now, I'm probably going for a draw as well. And I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw. I think it's going to be a 2-2 draw. Oli Burke, he's set to be in the squad. He's probably going to play. I wonder how he will play. Will Bury play? Will Mason Bennett play? Who knows? Will it be one up front? Don't know. But I'm probably going to go for a 2-2 draw. For reasons. Just for reasons. Not anything in particular. I think it will be a draw. But I think it's going to be probably just dog shit defending. It's probably going to be one of those games where we're 2-1 up and it comes to 2-2 at the end. So it's going to draw where we were in a winning position and we end up drawing. It's going to be one of those, I think. So anyway, let's go forward to tomorrow and find out. Thank you for watching.